Grief has a strange way of freezing time. People think it gets easier after a few months, then after a year, but 2 years after I buried my wife, I was still setting 2 coffee mugs on the kitchen counter every morning before realizing she wasn't there. Then one ordinary Saturday, I found a sealed envelope with my name on it. Everything I believed about my marriage changed the moment I opened it. My name is Daniel. My wife, Sarah, died from an aggressive illness when she was only 36. We'd been married for 12 years. No children, just the two of us. She was the kind of person who made every room quieter simply by walking into it. Not because she demanded attention, because she made everyone else feel important. When she passed away, the house became painfully silent. For months, I couldn't even enter our bedroom without feeling like the walls were closing in. Friends encouraged me to move. My parents suggested selling the house. I couldn't. Every corner held a memory. Her favorite chair by the window, the tiny herb garden she'd planted, the chipped coffee mug she refused to throw away because she'd said imperfections gave things character. So I stayed. Life slowly became manageable, not normal, just survivable. Then, exactly 2 years after her funeral, I decided to clean the attic, mostly because I needed something to keep my mind busy. While moving an old wooden chest, I noticed a small envelope taped underneath the lid. My name was written across the front. In Sarah's handwriting, it simply said, "For Daniel, please wait until you're ready." My hands started shaking. I had searched this house countless times after she died. I'd never seen it before. I sat on the attic floor for almost an hour before opening it. Inside was a handwritten letter. The first line stopped me cold. "If you're reading this, it means I kept my biggest promise to you." I frowned. I had no idea what she meant. She continued, "I promised I'd never leave you without telling you the truth." My heart started racing. Truth? What truth? As I kept reading, tears blurred the words. Sarah confessed that 6 months before her diagnosis, she'd secretly visited a fertility specialist, not because she wanted children immediately, but because she'd noticed I always smiled whenever I saw fathers playing with their kids. She knew I wanted to become a dad someday. I'd never pressured her, never even asked, but she'd noticed. Anyway, the test revealed something heartbreaking. She couldn't have children. She wrote that she'd spent weeks blaming herself. She was terrified I'd eventually resent her, so she'd planned to tell me after gathering the courage. Then, the cancer diagnosis arrived. Everything changed. Suddenly, survival became more important than future plans. She wrote, "I couldn't bear the thought of you spending my final months comforting me about something that no longer mattered." I stopped reading. I couldn't breathe. For years, I'd blamed the illness for stealing our future. Now I realized she carried another burden completely alone. I turned the page. The next paragraph hit even harder. "I know you'll wonder why I never told you. The answer is simple. Because every time I looked at you, I saw a man who loved me more than the family we never had. You made me feel like I was enough." I cried harder than I had at her funeral. Then came the biggest surprise. Folded inside the letter was a small key. Attached was another note, the safety deposit box. I had completely forgotten we even had one. The following Monday, I visited the bank. The manager unlocked the box and quietly stepped outside. Inside were several documents, photo albums, and another envelope. This one contained dozens of letters, each labeled with different milestones. For the day you buy another house. For your 50th birthday. For the day you finally forgive yourself. For the day you fall in love again. That last one nearly made me close the box forever. I wasn't ready, not even close. I brought everything home. Over the following weeks, I read one letter every few days. Each one felt like another conversation we'd never gotten to finish. She'd somehow predicted so many of my fears. One letter simply said, "Please don't turn our love into a reason to stop living." That sentence haunted me, because that's exactly what I'd been doing, existing, not living. A month later, I finally did something I'd avoided for 2 years. I accepted an invitation to dinner with old friends, then another. Eventually, I started volunteering at the community garden Sarah used to support. One Saturday, while planting flowers, I met a little girl named Emma. She couldn't have been older than 8. She pointed at one of the roses and smiled. "My mom says flowers help people remember." I smiled back. "Your mom sounds smart." She nodded proudly. Later, I met her mother, Rachel. She'd also lost someone she loved. Not a spouse, her father. We talked for almost an hour. Not about grief, about gardening, life, normal things. For the first time in years, I laughed without feeling guilty. That night, I opened the final letter Sarah had written, the one labeled, "For the day you fall in love again." I expected heartbreak. Instead, it simply read, "If you've reached this letter, then you kept your promise. You kept living? Please don't compare her to me. Love her differently." That's how love is supposed to work. I sat in silence for a long time. Then I looked around the house. For 2 years, I treated it like a museum, a place where nothing could change. Sarah never wanted that. She wanted it to become a home again. Today, her herb garden is still outside. I still drink coffee from her chipped mug every Sunday morning. Not because I'm trapped in the past, because remembering someone isn't the same as refusing to move forward. People sometimes ask whether finding that letter gave me closure. The truth, grief doesn't end. It changes, and sometimes the people we lose continue shaping our lives long after they're gone. Not through miracles, not through ghosts, but through the love they leave behind. If you've ever found something that brought a loved one back into your life, even for a moment, share your story in the comments below. Sometimes a single handwritten letter can say everything that time never allowed.